News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And very good evening to you. This is Newsline Live, and as usual, we are broadcasting from the News First studios in Dawson Street in Colombo, and in our brand new set here, thanks to COVID-19 precautions. Now, this evening, joining me on the set is a man who's not far removed from controversy, and he has a genuine concern that there is a growing number of election rule violations. I thought we'd have him on the set and find out what exactly are these violations. Good evening to you, Mr. Kodituaku Naga.
Yeah.
It's a long
Good
time since
evening
you've been
to
on the program, actually.
Yeah.
And tell me, what are these, what's worrying you now in terms of the election rule violations?
Farah, this Parliamentary Election Act very clearly states that no candidate can display his image and the preferential number. This law was enacted far back, right, in 1981. So far, up until now, nobody tried to enforce this law and demanded strict enforcement of law.
Right.
When I questioned the election commissioner, the chairman and his legal officer, they said, you are not supposed, you have to strictly follow the rule of law.
Right.
So then I said, okay, definitely, yes, we strictly follow the rule of law. We did not display our number, preferential number, or images or anything like that. But I observed all over the places, you can see candidates' images and their number, the preferential number and all that. Then I questioned him. So you are the man in charge of the elections and you are required by law, Article 93 of the Constitution, to conduct a free and fair election. So I said, you must strictly enforce law. And then he said that, why not you? The law says unless you have a kind of a political meeting, you can't display the number and the preferential number and
so
the
if you
photo.
have a meeting, you can?
You can. And then he said, so why not you, at your place, you talk to your wife and children? That's also a meeting.
Right.
So why not you display your, I said, you can't abuse the law like that. It's not you can't find loopholes in law.
Right.
So you have to strictly enforce law. I said, I will not do that. You are the chairman of the election. You must enforce the rule of law.
Right.
Then he had no other option. He asked every political party to remove their images and the number. Okay?
Which explains why some people's images are being covered up.
Yeah, you can see that. After now 81, the law was enacted in 1981.
Right.
Now we are in 2020. After 40 years, 39 years, because of one individual, now they have to, enforce the rule of law. Yeah, that is what happened there.
Right. Are there any other violations of election rules?
Yeah, definitely yes. Now you can see more than a month now.
Yeah.
All right. After the government declared, elections, all these candidates, major political parties, they use all this, electronic media and to carry on with their election program. Okay. And I need not mention the individual's name, and particularly UNP2 factions.
Yeah.
Pohottua, JVP, okay, all these parties are granted and pending, and I think they have entered into a kind of agreement with this media, some millions, okay. With that, they are given full privilege,
Right.
and to address the nation. Whereas in our case, nothing given. Therefore, I believe
Our
it's not
case
free.
as in independent.
Independent Group 7, because the people fully aware, they know that Nagandas take a very firm stand against the corruption and the lawlessness in the country. He fights for the rule of law, but they're not given any chance whatsoever. So I talked to him on 18th of this month at the election secretariat. I said, this is absolutely unreasonable. The people do not know, most people still unaware whether we are contesting the election. So I said, how can you call it a free and fair election? So now, I think he has spoken to the media even today.
Yeah.
I sent him a very hard-hitting letter
Okay.
to Mr. Mahinda Deshapriya. I said, you must ensure that every candidate, we contest only for the Colombo district.
Right.
I said, you must ensure that every political party or independent group are given equal opportunity. Otherwise, it's a violation of the constitution.
And you're now happy that this is happening. The law
Definitely.
is being...
Yeah. To some degree now it's happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there is a group of people, politicians, legislators elected after the polls, and if they want to change the system, they're welcome to change it. They can change the 1981 rules. But
Definitely.
until it's changed, your point is, until it's changed, the law is the law is the law.
Absolutely.
And it must be enacted.
No, I saw in a statement made by GLP, Professor GLP.
Yeah.
He said, now, how come you conduct this election unless you are allowed to demonstrate, show your photograph and the number?
Yeah.
He was a minister in Rajapaksa's government for decades.
Right.
They should have dealt with it then and there. They are not now.
Now, because you are who you are, and after we've sent out notifications of your arrival here on the program, we've got some questions. And I'll take one of them. Being a former Excise Department officer, Mr. Kodituaku was a senior customs official and very famously was in charge of the Revenue Task Force, the RTF, which is apparently, if you ask importers, no greater unit than the RTF, because if they get you, they get you. And so anyway, that's just the background of what Mr. Kodituaku does. Being a former Excise Department officer, what specific system changes would you bring to the table if you are elected to Parliament? There are massive leakages costing the country in billions of souls. Will you translate your words to deeds, or will you bow to the inevitable like many other politicians?
For us, general public is fully aware about the Nagananda and his stand against the corruption and the lawlessness. He will never change his policies. He will stick to his policy. And if in case he is elected, I expect people to, because the people understand that is all these political parties are equally corrupt, and the role of the MP in the legislature is to play an active role and not to wait till things go wrong and shout. Okay? For
So you want to be proactive?
Absolutely. The last 10 years, what I did in the court of law, in the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, I brought all these fellows, MPs, ministers, the Prime Minister, the Speaker, the President, everybody who violated the law was dealt with in the court of law. No? Do you think such a man, right, will change his stand? No, that will never
There's
happen.
another question from another viewer. Will you and your members of the independent group 7 join one of the mainstream parties?
Good question. You know, during this election campaign, just after the presidential election, I was approached by all these political parties. I can easily enter the parliament through any one of them, right? UNP Sajid's faction and the Ranil's faction, as well as the JVP. That was not the motive. My only objective is not to enter the parliament, but to serve the people. Therefore, we will never ever join hands with any corrupt political parties in this country.
Another question. You're not an economist, but the viewers would like to know what your plans are, if you have any, to revive the economy.
I'll give you there are so many things that you can do in this country. It is very unfortunate we don't have a single leader in this country for so many decades who has a vision. Take for example, after this COVID-19 situation, oil price in the market, world market, it was reduced to almost nothing. You can see this is the market price.
Yeah.
And the future market went down to zero, right? Sri Lanka, we have 99 oil tanks in Trinco, right? If we had a leader with a vision,
Yeah.
right, we could have it has a capacity, each tank can accommodate 12,000 metric tons. Okay, that is over 1 million tons of oil. What went wrong? We did not make use of this opportunity. If
Right.
we had a leader like, New Zealand Prime Minister,
Yeah.
we could have definitely made use of it, right? And
So
Thank-
that's one aspect. You
done as, and the other thing, we have so much of resources in this country, which is, take for example, we simply export this, resources in a very raw form. Take for example, graphite. What is the market price of graphite in the, world market price? A kilo, just $1.50. And you can process this, and which costs you some money. I think some scientists who met me, the Australian scientists, they said if you can the government spend about 10 billion,
Yeah.
you can put up a plant and to turn this, graphite to graphene. That is the new technology. You know the graphene technology, the market price is about 3,000 pounds a kilo.
Sterling.
$3,000 per kilo. What
Dollars.
is the, right?
Dollars.
Now, what is now this, you use a mobile phone, okay?
Yeah.
And we use so many other electronic gadgets. And now the new technology, when you charge the phone in the morning, evening, a few hours time, the battery goes down.
Yeah.
And new phone, after you use it for 6 months or so, the battery's condition is gone. Discharge. You have to replace the battery.
So graphene will.
Graphene is a very powerful technology, okay? It will hold power longer than this, the ordinary battery, not like lithium batteries, and it can hold energy, power for longer period of time, and also, right, and it's very cost effective.
Right.
And that is another area. So that is in 10
So
years
you
time.
maximize the.
10 years
our
time,
resources.
graphene market would be, there will be a huge expansion of the graphene market. Unfortunately, Sri Lankan government is not making use of it.
On that note, we'll go for a short break. When we come back, we'll have more questions for our guest tonight, who is, of course, Mr. Nagananda Kodituaku, retired customs officer and now a public interest activist seeking election from the independent Group 7. Stay with us. We'll be back soon after this break.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline, and we are in conversation with Mr. Nagananda Kodituaku. Naga, can you tell me, can you elaborate on why it is that this government, the President and his party, the SLPP, why are they looking for a 2/3 majority?
They have already gazetted a bill, okay? That is, it was initiated by Rajapaksa, what Rajapaksa? Vijaydas Rajapaksa.
Okay.
The purpose of the bill is to, empower the executive president and the prime minister, two brothers.
Right.
The appointment and the removal of judges to the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeal. That means they are going to do away with the Constitutional Council
Right.
and to have
So this is already gazetted?
already gazetted,
On which-
gazetted and published.
Do you know, can you tell us on which date?
Yeah,
When was it gazetted?
27th of December it was gazetted.
Right.
That is after he became the president.
Right.
The same thing Rajapaksa did after he was elected to the executive president's office for the second term.
That's minded up.
Yes, Mahinda Rajapaksa. But even with the 2/3 majority, they say that they will bring about a new constitution.
Right.
There is no way that you can do it because Article 82 of the constitution require 2/3, not 2/3 majority, 2/3 majority plus a referendum
Of the people.
to change the entrenched provision in the constitution. That is the first chapter. Okay, that is the people's sovereign rights. They can't take away it like that. The way
So
they want.
why do they want the 2/3 then?
That is to bring about these changes.
Obviously, the two-thirds from a activist point of view,
I believe,
is dangerous.
no, I absolutely disagree. No party should be given a two-third majority. If you give two-third majority, we will face a tough situation in this country. Therefore, and at the same time, who are these people? He was in politics for more than 50 years.
Yeah.
And there's another man who was the executive president, and this man also he was the executive president. Now they are contesting to become another MP. That shows that they have a different agenda. Their only objective is to make money, public, I mean...
Or serve the people. Or serve the people.
Of course, now we saw that no, Sirisena, and he was given that 800 million president's bungalow. No?
Yeah.
It was, can you believe it, a man who did nothing, who is responsible for ruining this country, who stayed that, constitutional coup.
But that's subjective. But that's subjective.
No. Take for example that constitutional coup staged by Rajapaksa, Mahinda Rajapaksa and the President Sirisena. And Supreme Court ruled 7 judges, even 2 weeks before the judgment was delivered. I said it's a coup. If similar thing happened in any other country, both these fellows would have been behind the bars. Okay? Why all these things happen in this country? There is no rule of law.
So, to the public, two-thirds is a no-go area.
No. You should never consider any political party and afford them any such opportunity and a two-third majority. That means you give them power to ruin this country. You can give if you have any such leader in this country.
Right.
The man who has failed this nation for 50 years, that he should not be, who is asking for two-third majority on the other hand? He said, Gotabaya Rajapaksa or Mahinda Rajapaksa? Mahinda Rajapaksa, who failed the nation for 50 years.
This is another question. Can Mr. Kodituaku tell us, after his abortive attempt at the presidential election, what did you do with the money that you collected from your fans?
Now, the people never ask. I will tell you. It was 13 million rupees. Okay. And we used that funds to promote our constitution. Okay. And this is the 7th edition of the booklet.
Okay.
We took it and the 7th editions and we educate other nation and enlighten them about their sovereign rights and to how that they can save this country, and visited and all over the country. Jaffna, Hambantota, Trinco, Puttalam, even Mayangana. You know, for these people, for just one advertisement, some adverts, it costs millions. We spent 13 million for the entire campaign.
Of which campaign? Your
presidential election campaign.
Yeah.
13 million. Who are the people who raised this issue? Even yesterday and day before, 5 people from 5 countries, one from Australia, one from Japan, one from England, they said, we who promoted this campaign, if any of you have given any money, please contact us, we will pay your money back, because we did not get a single cent in cash.
Right.
Everything was credited to the account.
So it's all bank transfers.
Exactly. Right.
So what you're saying in answer to the question is that it's fully transparent.
Absolutely transparent. I have the audited account, which was given to the, Election Commission.
Right.
Election Commission requested this information for the registration of the political party.
Was it relevant? The request, was it?
Yeah, request, because when you want to register the political party, you have to tender a set of documents.
Right.
One is the audited accounts. So we have tendered these audited accounts. You will see everything is given there. You will see the income and expenditure and everything. We have accounted for every penny.
Right.
I take with full responsibility. I say this with full responsibility. We have not abused a single cent. The man who dealt with that, you know that, I think you are fully aware of that case.
Yes.
The Dockyard case.
Yes.
On behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, I managed to recover the loss of revenue, right? 619 million. I think you also played a role in that case. Okay?
Yeah.
Including a 10 million additional forfeiture.
Yeah.
That is about 300 million US dollars.
We are a few minutes, we've got approximately 2.5 minutes more.
Yeah.
And I really must ask you this question because I too, as a journalist, have written about it in the past. When you are a customs officer,
Yeah.
when you're a serving customs officer,
Right.
and you make a detection, am I right in saying that under the customs ordinance, you get an incentive?
Definitely. I was one of the officers who may have made the fortunes in the customs department. There's a certificate issued by the PSL Veerasekara, and
but that's-
several million. This is provided by law.
By law, okay.
By law,
So
one
when-
third of the revenue
So
collected.
when you have launched public interest litigation,
Yeah.
have you been paid any money from the proceeds of that case?
Not at all. But best example is the Dockyard case.
Right.
I managed to recover the loss of revenue plus 10 million additional forfeiture. I purely did it in public interest, charging no cent, no fee whatsoever. There are so many other cases, no? Dockyard case and the BMW case and now palm oil matter. Then the last week, about a week ago, we filed another case about 91 containers of this decomposed tin fish.
Yeah.
You won't get a cent. Because I enjoy doing something.
You mean
for
you
human-
won't get a cent? You won't.
No, nothing at all. Right? Even the BMW matter, 18 billions of revenue.
Yeah.
I asked President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to intervene. I said, why not you get involved? Why not you ask? Because Mrs. Charles, the former Director General of Customs, she made it absolutely clear. She said that no, this has to be recovered. Okay? We produce all overwhelming evidence.
Yeah.
Overwhelming evidence. 2 sets of invoice, original invoice and the forged invoice, which is for the
So
same.
at the heart of the matter is
Yeah.
is the premise that whatever the value you may say or do, there is a value, an underlying value, which is called internationally valuation for customs purposes.
Absolutely.
But in Sri Lanka, of course, we had the Minister of Finance who's changed that, and instead of the value of the car, it's now the power of the engine.
Correct.
So, but notwithstanding that, ordinarily speaking, there is a value, no matter what you declare,
Yeah.
there is a value for customs purposes.
Absolutely.
And that was at the heart of your cases.
Correct.
Nagananda Kodituaku, I'm sad to tell you that we've run out of time. But thank you for coming and enlightening us on your independent campaign.
Yeah.
We wish you all the very best, of course. And we'll see you again when the elections are all over.
Let me tell them what my independent group.
Well, you got 30 seconds.
Okay, our independent group number 7, we contest for the Colombo district with a group of professionals, and our symbol is shield. We have come forward to protect you, and you can be and guard you from this group of criminals who destroy this country
Thank
for the last
you.
70
Thank you very much, Nagananda Kodituaku. On that note, that's the end of the night for Newsline Live. Take care, have a great evening ahead, and of course, God bless.